Right, 3 cameras set up, marking with Zane. I'm still recovering from the chat we just had, like the little overview. But let's start there. Who are you? What is it that you do? And what are you looking to disrupt here?
Awesome, brother. Thank you, man. My name is Zane Stenning. I'm a medical doctor. Grew up in Durban, studied in Joburg, and now live in Cape Town, so really spanned the whole of SA. And a huge passion for this country and a huge passion for building successful and scalable businesses here that impact not only South Africa, but the rest of the continent and the world. And my first stab at that is Mia, which is the tooth tech or dental startup. And we basically are disrupting every space or every aspect of the dental community, whether it comes from the software that you manage your practices with and integrate and interact with your patients, or the products that you're selling, the dental products you're selling, or actually how you're starting your practice, how you're financing it, and what actually is your business model. Yeah. We disrupt all of those.
What is the issue?
Sure. Well, we actually are we're dealing with 3 core, so we have our 3 core products, and they each deal with a very specific issue that Africa faces. Where we started was Mia aligners, okay? In Africa, we have the highest rates of skewed teeth in the world, so we have an 89% prevalence. So pretty much everyone in this auditorium here has skewed teeth and needs orthodontics. But we have we have too few orthodontists to actually treat everyone. And the next problem is that we have too little monetary resources to actually pay for it, with your average cost of braces being like 35, 40K and going up, and clear aligners or Invisalign starting at like 60K and going sky high depending on how many you need. We don't have a solution that actually talks to the average salary earner who's only taking home like 14K a month, and that's 30% of our population. So we brought manufacturing local. We've got local orthodontic teams to do treatment plans, etc. And we've able to bring down the cost of orthodontic treatment to like half the cost of braces and a quarter of the cost of the foreign competition. And that's what we're going to scale first through clinics to treat patients with skewed teeth. The next problem that I ran into, being a medical doctor, for me to start a practice, I need stethoscope, a pen, and a desk, and the basics of it, I can start seeing and treating patients, right? Dentistry is very different. So in South Africa, the government only employs about 14% of dentists, and pretty much every dentist over the age of 50 is an older white male that's been in these urban areas forever, so they dominate the market. So for younger dentists to enter the market effectively, profitably, is difficult because they need lots of capex to start, and they need actually quite a long OPEX runway, operational capital, to get them to profitability. And when you come straight out of university, you don't have good credit records, and lots of our graduates now, 70% of them are people of color, lots of them coming from previously disadvantaged backgrounds, so no family support to get them into the market, and 50% of new graduates are women. So we really need to find a solution to get them into the market effectively, fund them, give them market access, and let them start practicing immediately and reach profitability quite fast. So our mobile clinics are what solve that. So a partnership with SIFA and Mia, basically we fund dentists at prime -5 for CapEx and OpEx. They get significant moratoriums up front to help them get to profitability. And to be funded at such an affordable rate is amazing. But the next thing is that we take the mobile clinics that we design and build for them and plug them into corporate and school wellness programs. So from day one, they have feet through the door, which is actually very unique. You talk to dentists who start a practice from scratch anywhere, you're sitting for most of the time waiting, maybe 2-3 patients a day. We go to a corporate or school, our onboarding team is there, and we get patients through the door immediately. So we're giving these dentists a really amazing access to market, and that solves another problem. In South Africa, we only have utilization rates of about 17% of dental benefits that are being used. So corporates and employees are paying for these benefits but not utilizing them because of their busy lifestyles. You're not getting to the dentist. And the more checkups and cleanings you miss, the more you're going to get fillings, root canals, etc.
I love the trifecta that you built into this. It's the patient, it's the doctor, and the client in a bigger way. So you're really looking at the entire
value chain in dentistry.
Value chain is the word I'm looking for. Your primary focus, which one of these would you say? Does it start with a dentist?
It's so funny. So when we were raising, every VC we spoke to was you need to pick one product. You need to. And like we do have a fundamental belief in all of our products. And what's nice is that they all vertically integrate. Our mobile dental clinics now are seeing massive success from being able to sell aligners in them. And they've been able to scale because our software is making it so much easier for them to interact with patients, upsell, etc. So really, to be honest with you, like we're going to be guided by the numbers, but all of these products have a very special place in our startup and are solving such big issues that we really don't want to let go of any of them. And we basically are just building the teams around each product to ensure that they can scale effectively and have the funding to do so.
And I mean, like, have you considered that within a couple of years, when you have a little bit more of the numbers, that you might just be able to separate these from each other, or would you still keep it integrated?
So in terms of corporate structure, we have done that. And we've already raised a VC round now, and we're looking to raise another one. So we have, I think, quite a mature corporate structure in terms of holdco structure, the different business elements separated into different structures like that. And yeah, I think like with any South African startup, whether you have one product or many, it's like your biggest problem is going to be fundraising and market access. Dude, like we have a very small market, we have a very small capital market. Like, can you keep that business funded either through revenue or through raising? And can you iterate that product with enough users to get to profitability and product market fit?
How much money does it normally cost to set up a dental, practice clinic?
It's a fantastic question, and it can cost anywhere from like 2 million all the way up to 8, 9 or 10,
and that's
depending
not
on
pocket change for a student just graduating.
No, it's not pocket change for anyone in South Africa really. And like obviously it does vary, but the other thing that we've seen, which is even like harder than that, is that some like the younger dentists just don't get funding, and then when they do, it's at very high rates. We've spoken to some dentists who are being funded at like prime plus 5, 6, 7%.
Risk?
Well, you see, the problem is that dental assets don't have a big resale market. They're specialized assets. So when you go to a traditional funder to borrow against this, they're just thinking, okay, if this business goes belly up, how am I going to sell this asset? What price can I realistically get for it? And that's what pushes the cost of that lending up, There are obviously banks and funders, financiers that look to fund dentists, but it's usually once they've been like in the market a while, and even then it's still not really like affordable financing for these younger dentists who are looking to enter the market.
So you put down a plug and play solution, you've got business support, everything that's needed.
And the big thing is that we're not only financing assets, we understand that behind every successful dental practice is an individual that needs to live, feed their families, look after their families. It's not just about financing the assets and making sure that the business is profitable. You've got an individual who's worked hard in university, dedicated their lives to patient care. They also need to live and thrive. So that's really what we're here to do. Yeah.
I think every entrepreneur is always caught in that little struggle. This is actually what I'm good at, but now I have to make a business out of that. And these two things aren't necessarily the same thing. And in fact, this thing sometimes distracts from this and this. So now you're allowing people to actually focus on dentistry.
100%.
Giving back to the communities that they possibly came from or similar. And how's that working out?
Well, we've had an amazing start to this. I won't lie. Like, we're in a very, very fortunate position, and I want to acknowledge that really it does take a village. There's an African proverb, it's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I can't tell you how much our community and the people that have just joined our journey have impacted our ability to really succeed. So first off, like, just taking pretty much no credit for where we got to date. But yeah, we're doing really well. As I said previously, we just raised this fund with SIFA now. That's 15 million rand to fund 7 dentists to enter the market effectively all throughout SA. We've raised a VC round with 2 VCs, Savant and Anza. And yeah, we're scaling really fast. After we raised with Savant, we 3x our revenue. Then year to date now, we've 10x our revenue on top of that. So in the last 12 to 18 months, we've 30x revenue, which is amazing for what might not be a typical VC investment. Like, I think if you look at Mia holistically, we're probably like a private equity play or like corporate financing play or something like that. So yeah, we've got great scale. We've got how many dentists now? 4 or 5 dentists using our products in our clinics, treating corporates and schools. Our clinics are across 3 cities, Windhoek, Cape Town and Joburg. And yeah, we've got some big corporates on the cards, Johnson & Johnson, Bidvest Bank, big schools as well. So yeah, just...
I want to tap into that, because the corporate element of it, if you are a big corporate, how much time does people actually spend away from work, going to dentist appointments, doctor's appointments? Now you're bringing it to work.
Amen, dude. You got the pitch right there. So, it actually is a huge thing. So, the Council of Medical Schemes, which is like the governing body for medical aids, they release utilization stats, what I spoke about earlier. 17% of employees are using dental benefits. And even those who are using it, I mean, to go to the dentist, it's like you have to leave work, you go, you wait in the waiting room for longer than what your appointment most likely is going to be, go to the appointment, then you travel back. So even if you are doing those checkups and cleanings, there's still a lot of time that you're losing. And then if you're not doing that and your oral health is worsening and worsening, stats out of the US suggest that employees with poor oral health can have an average of 50 hours of working downtime a year. And that's either divided into two categories. Downtime at work, trying to work when you have a toothache or like anxiety over bad breath, or absenteeism and seeking care or illness.
Yeah.
And that's like dentistry is all wholly preventable. Like you should, like in this day and age of modern dental care and the availability of dentistry, you should not be needing fillings and root canals, you know? And it was highlighted to be one of my colleagues at a hospital, doctor, wealthy, lives in Cape Town, dentists everywhere, needed extensive dental work. I'm talking like several root canals, etc. And I was like, what's going on here? You have money, you live in a place where you have dentists everywhere, but you have such extensive issues. Like, I just can't get out of the office. Then, like, that's where it clicked, you know?
Interesting. Very interesting. Your CMO was speaking to the fact that we think about this corporate type of schools.
Yeah.
Like his kid, that's how you guys kind of met. Like, taking kids out of school and into school. Do you actually have a relationship there?
There's an even bigger issue. So like, if you imagine like just you going to the dentist, there's two schedules that need to align, right? You and the dentist. For a school child, it's even more complex. The school needs to be able to let them out. The child needs to be free. The parent needs to be free, and the dentist needs to be free. So all of this leads to like basically kids, no matter what LSM, not going to the dentist. We do like lots of very high-end private schools, and the rate of oral pathology is super high. So it really doesn't matter across which socioeconomic class you're looking at, the rate of oral pathology is very, very high. So by coming to schools, and I can't tell you how the kids love it. Like, I remember the first school that we were at, I was like, awesome, okay, we got the school on board, I've got a dentist here, I've got a clinic. I need to get a child to want to come to the dentist. And I was like, oh, Sherbet, like I've forgotten like this major part. And we're busy seeing like the first patient, they go back to the class, the second one comes. And we're in the clinic and we get like a knock, knock, knock on the door. We look outside, there's like 3 kids who are like, can we go next? And I was like, in what world do kids want to go to the dentist? But when it is all preventative care, it's fun. It's like this cool space age, like mobile clinic, the TV's there, music, the kids love it. And like we have children now writing letters saying like, I love going to the dentist so much, thank you so much. So it's been like just a really like rewarding and validating process to go through.
I think a lot of the word disrupt, it gets thrown around a lot, but I do enjoy the word innovate, and especially there where we find a problem like this. Like, where have you ever heard a child wanting to go to the dentist? Secondly, like the steep pricing of dentistry, like it's exorbitant really, but it's not only going to the dentist, which is also, I mean, insurance, and I'm assuming there's a bunch of fees involved there. So do you feel like you are disrupting this industry? Is this disruptive? Is this innovative?
I think you're touching on a very valid point, that there are so many elements that govern how you run a healthcare business. I mean, I talk to so many practitioners who just talk to the fact that like medical aid schemes really are making the coverage so low for dentists that it's very difficult to run a profitable practice. And I must say, I do identify with that, running a healthcare business. Like running a dental practice, there is so much that goes into being able to treat one patient, whether it's the inventory you need, the capital expenditure you need just to start, and the relative time it takes to treat each patient, like what scale can you achieve? And then you look at like the ethical dilemma of this, like you want to bring care to patients in an acceptable, affordable, and accessible way. How can you do that? Like when funds are governed, you live in like such a divided socioeconomic society. So there's so many things that do govern healthcare. I think one of the big things that we're trying to do is to make preventative dentistry as affordable as possible. So we integrate with pretty much all of the medical aids to make sure that preventative care can be done at medical aid rates and can be claimed for. And our whole ethos is that once we've been at your organization for 2 or 3 years, you shouldn't be having people with advanced oral pathology needing extensive work that's not covered. So that's what the whole basis is that the more you see the dentist, the less you'll need them and the less you'll have to pay.
I think one of the things that makes you quite interesting for me is that entrepreneurs in general come from like varying industries. For me, innovation happens at an intersect. And I think you've got a lot, well, obviously you're a medical professional, you're a medical doctor, and there's the experience, and then you identify problems within your industry, and you're able to speak the language and communicate from both sides of the fence, corporates, dentists, patients. What do you think about that? Is that where innovation got, how did you get here? Like that's actually what I'm getting at.
You know, if I had to boil it down to a few things, it's like execution. Like, if you really want to boil it down to that, like whatever you touch, you have to see it through. You have to have like this ultimate ownership of like, I'm going to see this through to the end. And whether that end is realizing that this doesn't work. Or that this does work, or where we found ourselves like this is sort of working, which is even harder than both of those. Like, do I cut it? Do I carry on? But yeah, like, and this is something I've really learned from Marius, our CMO. Like, he's a seasoned South African entrepreneur, built big businesses, and like just seeing him like drill down at such a granular level to ownership. Like, what is going on with this specific thing? How can I solve this? And I've just applied that to every element of our business, whether it's fundraising. And let me tell you something, in SA you need to be patient, dude. You have to be patient, you have to be accommodating, you have to be willing to pivot and understand the mandate of the funder, all that sort of stuff. B2B deals in South Africa, any entrepreneur who deals with corporates in SA knows what that's like. Patience is the game, like ultimate ownership is the game. And then when it comes to product iteration, you're not gonna get it right, dude. And you have to like just sit in that anxiety and slowly, just ever so finely pivot towards that product market fit, you know?
Yeah. Anza Capital invested in you guys. How important is a partnership like that? How important is a partnership that helps you with funding and putting up a little bit of the guardrails in this landscape?
So we started bootstrapped, which means that the founders funded the first couple clinics. And, you know, honestly, in retrospect, I don't know if I would start another bootstrap startup. It leads you to make lots of like there's pros and cons to each. Like when you bootstrap, you make lots of decisions out of desperation. Like you follow revenue wherever it's coming from, it might not be strategic, etc. And when you raise, the money that you raise could make you build in the wrong direction because you got all this cash and now I believe in this, I want to build that way. But the thing is that maybe there's a good blend of both that makes you like see the truth. And I think that's maybe where we got to. Like when you're spending your own money on stuff, you need to be very strategic. Like, this is my money. Like, if I spend it here, I'm not going to have it again, you know? And I definitely admit that when it's not your money, you don't have that much like attachment to it. So it's great to transfer money out of your own bank account when you're starting a business to actually be like, okay, cool, I need to make every cent of that work. But raising VC, and I must tell you, we have been blessed with amazing funders. Savant, Anza, Sifa, Tia, they've all given us, besides for just the cash injection, such great post-investment like support and management. Whether it's opening corporate and school doors, being very strategic with our product and all that sort of stuff. So that has been absolutely out of this world. And if I had advice to a younger version of myself, it would be raise more and raise sooner. Get the strategic capital on board. Like, these guys have built thousands or hundreds of big businesses. They know where founders go wrong. And what I've loved is that I can push back with my investors. When they say, we don't think you should be doing this, and I push back and I say like, this is what we're seeing it. Then I go, cool, let's give it a try. Like, let's see, you know? And that's a great relationship to have. They fact check you and you can fact check them, which is awesome, dude. It just filters a lot of the bullshit out.
I've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs and CEOs and founders, and I'm always a little bit fuzzy about what each of those words and titles mean. But the one thing that's clear from you is the clarity component. It feels like you're very clear on what you want to achieve, clear in your vision, which helps a lot when it comes to external pressures, funding pressures, and that type of thing. Do you feel like you're clear on your vision? Does it feel overwhelming still?
You know, I think that I am clear on my vision, but I think it's constantly evolving. I think that as soon as you can like see through the gap and you see where you need to go, then I pivot fast. But I would say that, like, you know, you were talking about like what is a founder, what is a CEO, and all this sort of stuff. Like, what I've realized recently is like, you're basically just the captain of the ship. It doesn't matter what title you are given. Like Elon Musk famously said, the only person needed in the company is a director. You can be the chief of space, whatever, you know. And really, it's about creating cohesion. Like it is about having that clarity of vision, and how do you relay that to your team and get buy-in from them. And it's not as easy as what you think. Like, I think like for business owners, entrepreneurs, like you are constantly sitting and just thinking about product market fit, scale, runway, all this sort of stuff. And you iterate so fast in like just your constant mulling on the problem that it's almost impossible to constantly relay that to the team. But yeah, I think that it is important. And honestly, what it comes down to is like sleepless nights, like very often just like mulling and stewing on a problem. And just making these very fine adjustments. Pivots very seldom are like this right angle turn. It's like just very small things that lead you to where you need to go. And yeah, I think from a founder perspective, what a clear vision does give you is like the ability to withstand the pressures that this way of life does give you. Because let me tell you, it's tough. I'm actually mentoring a couple of founders who are like in a stage before us now. And my thing I say to them is like, dude, you have to really make sure that you know what this entails and that this lines up with what you want from your life. And if that is true, then you need a clear vision that you can hold onto with both hands, because it's going to need that kind of dedication.
Sacrifice a lot. Awesome. That's all of the questions I have. So yeah, thank you for your time,
brother. 100%.
So is this like a prerequisite now to make scrubs cool, or?
Well, it's exactly that. And when we come to business events like this,